Join me as we journey into the extraordinary life of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. In this video, we'll uncover the depths of his character, his rise from humble beginnings, and the legacy of leadership, courage, and humanity that has inspired generations. Abraham Lincoln's story begins in a small log cabin in Hardin County, Kentucky, in 1809. Born into poverty, Lincoln's childhood was defined by hardship and resilience. His family struggled to make ends meet, and he received less than a year of formal schooling. But what he lacked in resources, he made up for with determination. Before continuing with this video, please take a moment to like and subscribe to support this history channel. As a young man, Lincoln stood out from the crowd, tall and lanky at 6 feet 4 inches. He arrived in New Salem and landed a job as a clerk in a general store. Soon thereafter, Lincoln started to make a name for himself, successfully wrestling the town bully and amazing most of his neighbors with his strength and ability to split rails and fell trees, a survival skill that he developed as a child of the American frontier. In small towns during that era, the general store was a meeting place, and thus Lincoln grew to know the community well. He delighted people with his wit, intelligence, and integrity. For the less literate citizens of New Salem, Abe's ability to read and write was invaluable. He quickly became a popular member of the town, endearing himself to the locals as a good-natured and bookish young man. Lincoln focused his energies on studying law on his own, arguing cases before the local justice of the peace even before passing the state bar exam in 1836, and getting his license in 1837. Lincoln also participated in Whig political functions, serving as secretary in the party's meetings. Despite his political leanings, Abe attracted attention from leaders of the time. Democratic President Andrew Jackson appointed Lincoln postmaster of New Salem, even though Lincoln had supported National Republican candidate Henry Clay in the 1832 presidential election that re-elected Jackson. Democrats allowed Lincoln's appointment probably because no local Democrat wanted the job, and additionally, his determination to avoid partisan posturing made him acceptable to almost everyone in New Salem. To supplement his meager pay of $55 per year, Abe chopped wood, split rails, worked as a county deputy surveyor, and handled routine legal work for small fees. The Lincoln-Douglas debates of 1858 were a series of 7 debates between Abraham Lincoln, representing the Republican Party, and Stephen A. Douglas, representing the Democratic Party, as they competed for a U.S. Senate seat in Illinois. These debates focused on one of the most divisive issues of the time: slavery and its expansion into the Western territories. Lincoln argued that slavery was morally wrong and should not spread into new territories, asserting that the nation could not endure permanently half free and half enslaved. He famously said, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." Lincoln did not advocate for the immediate abolition of slavery in states where it already existed, but was firmly against its expansion. Douglas, on the other hand, championed popular sovereignty, the idea that each territory should decide for itself whether to permit slavery. He argued this was a fair democratic approach that respected local decision-making. However, Lincoln countered that allowing slavery to spread would endanger the nation's moral and political future. The debates also touched on questions of equality and rights. Lincoln stated that while he did not advocate for full social and political equality between races, he believed African Americans were entitled to basic human rights as outlined in the Declaration of Independence. Douglas used these statements to portray Lincoln as a radical abolitionist, attempting to appeal to the racially charged sentiments of many voters. Although Douglas won the Senate seat, the debates catapulted Lincoln to national prominence. setting the stage for his successful presidential campaign in 1860. The debates underscored the deepening divide over slavery and foreshadowed the Civil War. Today, they are remembered as a landmark moment in American political history and rhetoric. Abraham Lincoln's presidential election in 1860 was one of the most pivotal in U.S. history, occurring during a time of deep national division over slavery. Lincoln, representing the Republican Party, ran on a platform opposing the expansion of slavery into new territories, though he pledged not to interfere with slavery in states where it already existed. His election would ultimately set the stage for the Civil War. The 1860 election featured four main candidates. Abraham Lincoln, Republican, opposed the expansion of slavery and supported economic modernization. Stephen A. Douglas, Northern Democrat, promoted popular sovereignty, allowing territories to decide on slavery. John C. Breckinridge, Southern Democrat, supported slavery's expansion and represented pro-slavery interests. John Bell, Constitutional Union Party, focused on preserving the Union and avoiding the slavery debate. The nation was deeply divided along regional lines. The South favored pro-slavery policies, while the North largely opposed the spread of slavery. Lincoln's clear stance against the expansion of slavery made him a symbol of anti-slavery sentiment in the North, but deeply unpopular in the South. Lincoln won the election with a plurality of the popular vote, about 40%, and a decisive majority in the Electoral College. His support came entirely from northern and western states, as his name didn't even appear on the ballot in many southern states. Lincoln's election triggered secession by southern states, starting with South Carolina in December 1860, as they feared his presidency threatened the institution of slavery. By the time he was inaugurated in March 1861, 7 southern states had seceded, forming the Confederate States of America, setting the stage for the Civil War. Lincoln's election is remembered as a turning point in American history, marking the rise of the Republican Party and the beginning of a struggle to define the nation's future regarding slavery and unity. Despite his role as a wartime leader, Lincoln never lost touch with his humanity. He was known for his humility, empathy, and sense of humor. He would often visit soldiers in hospitals, sharing stories and offering words of encouragement. Abraham Lincoln's legacy continues to shape our world. His leadership during the Civil War preserved the Union, ended slavery, and set the stage for a more just society. He taught us that true leadership requires courage, compassion, and an unwavering belief in the values that unite us. Abraham Lincoln's life is a story of perseverance, courage, and hope. He showed us that no matter how humble our beginnings, we all have the power to make a difference. What lessons from Lincoln's life resonate with you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out my other videos for more inspiring stories from history.